Kamala Harris struggled to answer a simple question during her interview with Charlamagne over the weekend. So let's see how it all went down.
Somebody has to push back on Joe Manchin. That guy is stopping progress. He's ruining democracy. Are you willing to be that superhero? Because what scares me is if voting rights don't pass, or the Build Back Better plan doesn't pass, or police reform doesn't pass, I doubt you're going to get black people to go out there and vote in 2022 and 2024. And Trump will be president again. What's the plan for all of that?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more on the seriousness of these issues and how people take these issues seriously. And so we're gonna have to keep fighting on voting rights. We need to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We need to pass the Freedom to Vote Act and be relentless about pushing for that, which is what we have been doing and what I certainly am gonna keep doing. We need to keep pushing for what we got to do to really reform the system that we know needs to be reformed with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But again, Republicans stood in the way to get that done.
Who's the superhero that's going to speak against Joe Manchin? No. I want to know who's the real president of this country. Is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin?
I'm sorry, I interrupted. I don't think the vice president can hear you. It's Simone. I'm so sorry, Charlamagne. We have to wrap.
She can hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me, Madam Vice President?
So I'm sorry, we got to wrap.
Oh.
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
They're acting like they can't hear me.
So after Vice President Kamala Harris refused to answer the very specific question in regard to Joe Manchin, of course, Charlamagne does the right thing and asks the follow-up, repeats the question. And that's when Kamala Harris's aide, Simone Sanders, jumps in and tries to end the interview. So by the way, let me just be clear about something. Kamala Harris emphasized the need to keep pushing for the police reform. And I just want to remind you all that that bill is dead. It's gone. They're not even considering it in Congress right now. So to say like we got to keep fighting for it, she knows full well that that bill is going nowhere. But she's of course listing a whole host of issues that in an effort to make it appear as though Democrats are still working on or fighting for various issues, when in reality she knows that's not the case. But stay tuned because the interview is about to get even more fiery in just a second, Cenk.
Yeah, I don't know what Simone Sanders was doing getting it. Oh, you're asking a real question. I'm gonna interrupt this interview. A real question broke out. We thought you were gonna be soft. I mean, you're Charlamagne the God. Aren't you just like a funny guy or a fun guy or something? What are you asking a real question? This is embarrassing. The rest of the press, we have them locked up. And they never ask us real questions. And all they do is kiss our ass. You're not kissing our ass, Charlamagne. What's wrong with you, right? So, by the way, Simone Sanders now leaving the vice president's office. I don't know if this had something to do with it or if she just wanted to leave a sinking ship. But look, Charlamagne is going to be very polite here. He's going to ask exactly the right question that any decent journalist would ask. But we don't have decent journalists, we just have Charlamagne apparently that people will talk to. And he's way more polite than we are. Kamala Harris is definitely lying. They're not pursuing the George Floyd Act at all. Tim Scott said no and they dropped it. Anna's 100% right. And so half the other things that she mentioned, they're not pursuing at all. She's going on there to lie to the African-American audience. She gets called out an inch on it and she catches feelings.
Yes, exactly. So if you think that was bad, you haven't seen anything yet, watch the second half of this interview.
I can hear you.
Oh, so who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlamagne. It's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden, and don't start talking like a Republican about asking whether or not he's president.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris. And the reality is, because we are in office, we do the things like the child tax credit, which is gonna reduce black child poverty by 50%, on track to do that.
Child tax credit is gone. The final child tax credit was deposited into the families into bank accounts for American families last week. That was the final child tax credit deposit. The extension of the child tax credit was supposed to be part of the Build Back Better agenda, which President Joe Manchin has said that he will vote against, essentially blocking the passage of that bill. Look, calling him president is a cutesy way of me saying, no, effectively, he is the president, okay? Joe Biden might have the title of president of the United States, but he's not the one who's been calling the shots. Joe Manchin, the senator of West Virginia, is the one who's been calling the shots. And guess what? President Joe Biden has allowed that to happen. He's given Manchin all these cookies, all these goodies. Oh, the honorable Joe Manchin refuses to ever play any hardball, refuses to ever apply any pressure to Joe Manchin. And now the chickens have come home to roost. We see what's happened to the Build Back Better agenda. Child tax credit, gone, done, finished. So you can't be bragging about that unless you actually accomplish the extension for it.
So look, we beat up on the press all the time because they richly deserve it. But apparently all the journalists are hiding in Comedy Central. And they don't take Charlamagne lightly. He literally is asked better questions than any journalist in the country. So, and the reason why the other reporters don't ask the questions is because of the reaction that Kamala Harris gave. Basically, her answer was, "How dare you?" And Charlamagne doesn't care about it. He's already popular. He doesn't need Kamala Harris, okay? Whereas the other reporters are worried to death about losing access. And if you ask a real question to Kamala Harris, you will lose all access. She'll never come on your show again, right? Why do you think it's an accident that establishment Democrats never come on this show? I remember when Harry Reid's staff told me over a decade ago we were banned. Why? Because we asked tough questions, real questions. If you have the answers, come on and answer them. They don't have the answers. They're lying. That's why. So now she does all that cutesy stuff. Joe Biden's president. Joe Biden's president. Like all of us. And by the way, do you notice she talks different to Charlamagne than she does to normal Washington D.C. reporters? You're such a fraud. You're such a fraud. Okay, and that cutesy line of, "I'm the vice president and my name is Kamala Harris." I don't give a goddamn what your name is. All I care about is action. Do we have voting rights? No, we don't. Police reform, you're a joke. I will vote for you. I'll bring pom-poms for you if you get the Republicans to pass police reform. You're a joke. You know that's a lie. Okay, oh, you don't need the Republicans. You can get rid of the filibuster. You know who can get rid of the filibuster? Kamala Harris can. In effect, you do everything through reconciliation. The parliamentarian says no. Well, Kamala Harris is the vice president, the person who can overrule the parliamentarian. So if you didn't do it, it was you, and your name is Kamala Harris.
And remember, they were unwilling to overrule the parliamentarian when this unelected person decided to say that a $15 an hour minimum wage can't be passed through reconciliation. That advisement essentially could have been overruled by the vice president, but they didn't do that, did they? Because they don't care about passing a $15 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one last thing about this, and people in Washington will just find any excuse to protect the powerful. So I'm sure they'll hate me for it, etc. I don't give a damn. K-Hive, you can do whatever you want, you ass kissers. Okay, so she's going on there and pretending to be with the community, while she's actively and purposely lying to the community.
Exactly.
Don't patronize us, please. I know it works in Washington, and I know it works with your zombie K-Hive. We're not interested. We tell the truth. The truth is, you haven't done any of those things. So don't come pretending you're working hard when you're the ones blocking it. Did you ever overrule the parliamentarian? No, your name is Kamala Harris. Did you pass any of the things that you were talking about? No, your name is Kamala Harris. You own that. Why do you think you're at 28%? You think you're fooling everybody? You're fooling no one. It's an act. And other than the people in DC, everyone knows it's an act. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.